Hello and welcome to BarbWire Strategy. My name is Colonel Jim Ed Love, and you are watching a third part of a 5-part series that I'm doing on my wood shop. In this show, we're going to be talking about my ceiling. Hello and welcome to BarbWire Strategy. This is Colonel Jim Ed Love bringing you to my wood shop. And today we're going to talk about the ceiling and what ceiling I picked out and how I put it in, all of that stuff. It's a steel ceiling you're going to want to see. If I open up the brochure, you can see the different colors that there are. You can see the different colors there are to pick from. And right here, you see some of my notes. I ordered it on April the 5th, 2021. And there's the prices they quoted me. And you can see some of the prices they quoted on the different colors. And here are the different, it's very nice. It's laid out very nicely. You can see here, you can see some of the different types that you can order. Now, I believe the type that I ordered was, I believe I ordered this one right here. This one right here, yes. The color we picked out is this right here, this marine green. And I identified that, and so did my son. And my son said, we've got to get that marine green right there. Now, some of the other colors we debated about, I thought about this deep blue right here. I don't know if it's showing up with the lights and all. Now, the colors that they had in stock that I wouldn't have had to wait 3 weeks for was this one here, galvanized plus, and white and light gray. Now, those three, these three, they keep in stock all the time. So all you have to do is call them. Now, one of the more expensive ones is this one right here, this bright copper. The bright copper. And I believe they said that the black, yes, the black is the more expensive one. It comes out to be $4.11 per foot. The one I bought right here turned out to be $3.48 per foot. So this is the types that you have to pick out from, the types of colors and the style of the sheet metal right here. This is where Mueller operates out of here in Texas. And I believe the shop that they had that I went to is right over here, that dot. Here you can see, I'll just flip through here, you can see some of the different barns and lean-tos and different structures that they offer. Now they also offer building these structures as well. Not all of them, but some of them. You have to check with them to see what they're going to do. It's primarily a roofing and siding material, but you can use it on your ceiling, as I did. I strongly encourage looking into this if you're thinking about doing this in your wood shop or your outdoor shop or inside your house. I could very easily see maybe doing this bright copper in like a den or something inside. Just depends. It depends on the style you're looking for, but it's a very solid material and it's well worth the time and money. The thing, you want to come watch me?
Hey, what's up? Are you recording a video? How about not interrupting?
Yeah, you're kind of interrupting.
If I interrupted your recording live.
Do you want to watch me?
Watch you? No, I'm going to replace you.
Oh.
You ancient antique.
Okay. This is Alexander.
I built this garage, okay? I painted these walls. I built these tables. I put up this garage door, the entire ceiling by myself with these hands, these calloused hands of a true warrior, a true builder, a craftsman.
You know, I think you've been watching too much of the media in there.
Me, it's all about me. I did it all. I take credit for your deeds.
Oh, okay. Well, I already gave you credit in the film that I said I couldn't put up these panels without help, and that you helped me on every single one of these panels, except for the trap door, and I did put those up by myself. But anyway, what I was saying was, it's put in with these special screws, which I'll show you those here in a second. This right here, I wanted to show you the screws that went into the ceiling. This one right here is the smaller one of the two, and this one right over here is the longer one. Now this one is what I call, I don't know what these are actually called, but I call them something. I call this the tapering screw, because this screw is the one that goes in the edge that screws, it actually doesn't screw into the ceiling. They go in places like here. So here you have a panel, and here you have a panel, and there's an overlap. There's about a 3-inch overlap in one of these ribs. And you put the tapering, that short one, that tapering screw right in here, and that helps kind of seal it together. It's got a wider girth on it, and it is made to where it catches the two pieces of steel when you bring them together like this right here. So this one here, the short one, the short fat one, is used for that, and it tapers the two together. That's why I call it tapering screw. This one right here I call the structural screw because it's longer, and this one actually taps directly into your ceiling joists. It goes directly from the outside of your steel into, and you drill it. These are all self-tapping screws too, both of them. You don't have to pre-drill any holes. You just put this in your drill bit and go to town, and that's it. So these are the two screws. I just wanted to show you what they look like, and they worked very well. And also another advantage is that the company painted the top of these. So when you buy your ceiling with whatever color you order out of the catalog, your screws will match, and they give you plenty of screws. I've got lots left over. You end up, your screws have a little rubber gasket on them that'll flatten out for sealing purposes whenever you seal it, and so the hole will be sealed. And because you got to remember, these are also used for roofing, so it needs to be sealed, waterproof. But also, the color will match your ceiling, so when you look up, you'll see your screws. They won't stand out by being a different color. These panels right here are 12 feet, and those panels on that side of the garage are 10 feet. Together, they make up the length that it requires to span the garage, because I believe the garage is about, I think it's about 23 feet this way, wide. And so what I needed to do is I put these up first, and then so I did all of these on this side, and then I came back and I did all of those 10-foot sheets on the other side of the garage. Now, I also want to mention the fact that when you're trying to put this up, it's not really that difficult to find your ceiling joists, even though you can't see them. Number one, like I said, measure. But after you've measured and you're fairly confident, there's two factors, or actually there's three factors that'll tell you where your ceiling joists are. Number one, since your ceiling joists are going one direction, and in my case, they're going this direction right here, my panels are going this direction, so I can see in the panels that I haven't put up yet, I can see where my ceiling joist is. If, on the other hand, the second way you can tell where things are, I mean, once you get enough panels on and you're closed in and you want to find where to put extra screws, so you've got your whole ceiling up and you can't see, you can no longer see the rafters. Another way you can tell where your rafters are is simply look up at your ceiling. Where your line of screws are, approximately within that 1.5 inch area, or 1 3/4 inches, you're going to have a space where there will be a rafter. And so you can be confident about drilling in to that part. The third way you can tell where the rafters are, and I like this about the metal ceilings, is that if you get up here and now you can do this on wood or sheetrock, if you knock on it, you can kind of tell like right there, let's see, right here is the ceiling joist. Right there, it's hollow. But another way you can do it is you can take your thumb and you can push, and there's just a slight give. I mean, the ceiling, the steel is solid. It's not, you're not going to bend it, but there's just a little give where there is not a ceiling joist. And if you're very careful and you push hard enough, you don't have to worry about anything happening to the ceiling, but you can tell where these ceiling joists are simply by pushing, and you can feel resistance on the other side where this ceiling joist is. Anyway, that's the way you can line it up and make sure that you're in line with your ceiling joists. 3 methods. Now, one of the features that I wanted to show you about putting the ceiling in, one of the challenges that I ran into, and that is the fact that if you are putting it in your garage, then unless you've got a roll-up door that's not going to be in your way, and you don't have to allow for roll-up doors are above the entrance to your garage or your warehouse, and they're not going to affect the ceiling at all. The ceiling will be above them. But if you have a normal garage door that has the rails like I do, like millions of Americans do have, then you're going to have this problem. You're going to have, right up in here, you've got rafters, ceiling joists that plug in to this grid system that bolt in. There's bolts right here, here, and there, up here in this system, and they hold the arm of your garage door up. Now, what I did is I went in, first off, I took pictures of the way it was when when the sheetrock came down. Obviously the sheetrock came all the way down, and all that was left, you could see the grid, and then you could see the upstairs and the attic, and you could see the ceiling joist that this plugs into. And of course that allowed me to go in, and I took lots of pictures of it. In fact, I held up a ruler, some of my metal rulers, so I could take a picture of it, so I could see the exact measurement of where those holes were. Because once you get this up here, you're not going to be able to see where those ceiling joists are, and you're not going to be able to see where those holes are or where those holes should be in the wood. So what you do is you take a lot of pictures, you take good measurements, you write that down. I documented all of that. I was very, very careful about it, because what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to end up putting a bunch of holes in my metal ceiling, because if you put holes in sheetrock, well, you can putty those up. It's not a big deal. But if you put a bunch of holes in your metal ceiling, that can be pretty ugly. And yeah, you can sort of patch them up. It's possible, but it's real pain in the butt to do that, because then you got to patch them up and you got to paint it, and the patch up isn't going to be right. You're not going to get it perfectly smooth. And it doesn't matter on sheetrock because it's all textured anyway, and so it just kind of blends in. So I wanted to make sure these holes where these had to be attached to the ceiling, I wanted to make sure that these holes were exactly where these ceiling joists, or rather in this case, it wasn't necessarily the ceiling joists that they plugged into, it was connecting joints that I put in, or that were already put in. I put in the connecting joints all the way down this side and all the way down the other side. I'll show you those in another clip. But the point is that I was very successful both on this side and the other side. I do not have extra holes where I missed. I made sure that I put the drill bit in the exact spot where the holes were, and it worked out fine. But that's just something that you're going to have to work around. And my best advice is to take lots of pictures, write down the measurements, and be very precise on where you're drilling your holes. So that's how I did the arms of the garage door. And then I went back and I painted the arms to match the color of the ceiling, because the color of the ceiling came like this, and then I went out and I matched this color at Sherwin-Williams, and We'll talk about that in the paint part.